welcome everybody to our next episode of the
Pharm Girls.
That's right. I'm Marcia Muting. I'm the CEO of the Nebraska Pharmacists Association.
And I'm Amy Holman, the project coordinator for the NPA, and we are happy to have you here today.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a very fun show today. It is brought to you by the Nebraska Meds Drug Disposal Program, which Amy will be talking about shortly. We're going to have a legislative update. We're going to talk about Tex Baby. We've got a question that somebody submitted to us on Facebook. And we also have a very informal, non-scientific poll about which are the best and worst smelling medications.
Yes.
Amy's going to bring us some Pharm facts. And we have an interview with our very own president of the NPA Board of Directors, Mackenzie Farr. Going to get to know her a little bit more and learn about her very non-traditional role in pharmacy. We've got some events that are coming up.
We got a lot of events coming up, yeah.
Yes, and at the very end of the show, I am going to tell another joke, and I'm going to try not to laugh at my own joke. So we'll see.
We'll see how that goes. Okay, so, first also, we would like to thank everyone who has followed the Facebook page, listened to the podcast, watched it on YouTube. So thank you, everyone, for the great support from our first episode. So we're excited to keep doing this.
Mom. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, thanks, Mom. And our friends.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about the Meds Disposal Program, which is a grant-funded program that I work with, and I love doing it. I'm excited. We're doing some new things with it this year. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Perfect. So, Amy, tell us what is the Meds Disposal Program? Who's this for?
So the Medication Disposal Program is really for any person in Nebraska, any consumer. So we all, or most of the time anyway, end up with medications. Now that can be pharmaceuticals that have been prescribed to you. That can be over-the-counter medications, cold medicines, even hydrocortisone cream, your kids' medicine that you've gotten, vitamins, supplements, any of those things. They end up in our medicine cabinets, our kitchen cupboards, our linen closets, and pretty soon we're like, oh my gosh, this expired in 2018. And so you're like, oh, I just throw that in the garbage, I flush it down the toilet, and no, we don't do that. So with the Meds Disposal Program, it's basically, we have a slogan, every day is Take Back Day in Nebraska.
Right.
So with all those medications, we don't want to flush them, we don't want to trash them for environmental reasons. It can get into our groundwater, our streams, wildlife, those kind of things. So we want to make sure we're getting them out of our houses, but not down the toilet or down the drain in the garbage. And we also want to make sure we're getting them out of our house. A lot of childhood poisonings, most childhood poisonings under the age of 6 are actually from some sort of medication that a child has ingested. So you want to make sure that, first of all, those medications are out of the reach of any children, so that they're in safe places. But it's great to get medication that you don't need out of the house so that no one is getting into them.
Right.
Especially a lot of times grandparents, they might, they're not used to having people around their house all the time. But if little kids come in, they take them off the kitchen table, that kind of thing. To little kids, it looks like candy. I was doing a commercial also, and as we had some medication down there, the little girl actually said, oh, look, it looks like candy. And I was like, okay, that was the perfect example of why we don't want little kids around medication. And a lot of times we refer to medicine as like, oh, here, it tastes like candy, or it'll taste like bubble gum. And we really shouldn't do that to get kids to take medicine, unfortunately, because it does kind of make them view it that way. Also, you never know who in your house, or someone coming into your house, or even teenagers that might be thinking, oh, what's it hurt if I take this, couple hydrocodone to a party, or someone who might have a substance use disorder. It's great to get those out of your home, so that they're not there. And so the main thing is we want to make sure you get them out of your house, and you can do that by just taking them back to a participating pharmacy. So just grab a bag. It can be, your grocery sack, your Ziploc bag, throw them in there, go to a participating pharmacy, and they'll take care of them for you.
So
and dispose of them properly.
Right. So how many pharmacies across Nebraska are participating in this program where people can bring their unwanted medications back?
Yeah, it's almost 300 pharmacies.
Wow.
So every area pretty much of Nebraska, which we have some areas that are, don't have very many pharmacies, but even in those areas, you'll find one that you can bring your medications back to so that we can dispose of them properly.
Yeah. So what does a consumer need to do to participate in this program? How do they find where the pharmacies are?
Oh, yeah. So the best thing is to go to leftovermeds.com. When they go to the site, they'll be able to put in their address, zip code, city, and then find which pharmacies in their area they can go to. And it's as easy as just, like I said, bagging them up, taking them to the pharmacy. If you have any controlled substances, they can't take those back at a pharmacy, but they will give you what they call a takeaway envelope. Mm-hmm. So that envelope, you just put those into and then pop it in the mail. No cost to you, no cost to the pharmacy. Also, if you're picking up a prescription, and you're like, I need to get rid of some prescriptions, you can also ask them for a takeaway envelope. Mm-hmm. They'll give you that envelope. You can just go home, put whatever you want into it, and then just pop that in the mail.
Okay, so if should consumers take the medications out of the original containers before they bring them to the pharmacy for disposal?
No, you don't even have to do that. You can if you wanted to, but you can just put them all in. They'll take them that way. The disposal boxes that we supply the pharmacists with have a basically an only in way, so they have to put them down through a tube. Sure. They're not able to actually get anything back out of it, so your information and everything is safe once they've put that in there.
Okay. So you can leave the labels on. That will help the pharmacy sort them, right, because they have to look and see, well, this is a controlled substance, this isn't.
Right.
These non-controlled substances can go in our takeaway container, and then I'm going to give you an envelope that you need to mail the controlled substances back to.
Yes.
Yeah. We do have a few locations that have the meds safe.
Yes. Yeah. So a couple locations here. I know one, for example, is the Cancer Partners of Nebraska. Yeah. My dad and I both happen to go there, and so there you can just take your bag. It almost looks like a post office box you would be putting something into, the blue box. That's a blue box that's standing in their lobbies most of the time. Okay. You just pop it in there, and you don't have to worry about if it's a controlled substance or what's in it. It can all go in there with no problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, what else about Nebraska Meds? Who are the partners? I mean...
So with Nebraska Meds, so I'll kind of read a little statement that we do with it. So a part of the state of Nebraska's general funds has been allocated for the implementation of a statewide drug disposal project titled Preventing Poisoning, Pollution, and Prescription Drug Overdose for a Healthier Nebraska.
I came up with that.
You did? Oh, nice. Okay. And that's really what we're doing. So, a lot of it as far as, we'll do different things. We're getting ready to do a commercial here where we're going to be talking to some people from UNO that are going to tell us what the effects of medication going into the water is. So when you're flushing it, they're going to tell us how they test that and then how that gets into the groundwater streams, fish, wildlife, that kind of thing. And so why we don't want to be doing that. Mm-hmm. And again, we do a lot with drug overdose also because, again, we don't want people to be getting those prescriptions that shouldn't be. So, so the contract is with the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. That includes consumer, community, and pharmacist education. In addition to DHHS contract, MEDS has a grant with Nebraska Environmental Trust for the statewide drug disposal program. And the grant is used to purchase the drug disposal collection containers for use in pharmacies. So they work with us with their grant also supplying the pharmacies with what they need to dispose of the medications. And it's no cost to the pharmacies either. So
so no cost to the patients, no cost to the pharmacy.
Right.
And NET, the Environmental Trust, is supported by lottery dollars. So every time you purchase a lottery ticket, you're actually supporting our statewide drug disposal program.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, which is great.
Yeah.
And so we have 300 pharmacies across Nebraska, but we'll always take more pharmacies because there's more than 300 pharmacies in Nebraska. So,
Yep.
so if your pharmacy wants to get involved to have a container, you can reach out to us. You can reach out to me at the NPA, and we can get you signed up. It's a super easy process. It's super easy to be in the program. Again, we supply you with the box. Once it's full, it tapes down automatically. You give it to your UPS driver, and then it goes to be incinerated.
Sure,
So.
and then and the same driver might bring them an
The
empty
new
box.
box. Yeah. So then, you just order the new box. You'll have a new
Sure.
box. So,
All right.
it's super easy.
That does sound super easy, and it's keeping a lot of drugs out of the water, out of the landfills, and out of the hands of people who should not have any access to them. So,
Right.
preventing poisoning and drug abuse, this is
Right.
a great program.
It is,
So
yes.
Thank you for your work on that.
Yeah,
that
you're
is
welcome.
amazing.
It's fun.
That is amazing.
So next we're going to do a little bit of legislative updates. So last time we talked about some of the bills that were being seen right now in the legislature.
Right.
And so we're going to give a few updates on that. So tell us a little bit about the PBM bill and where we're at on that.
Sure. I'm super excited to share that our pharmacy benefit manager bill is going to be on final reading here shortly. This bill will pass this session. I am confident that we will have a bill in Nebraska that regulates pharmacy benefit managers. And so that is very exciting
Yeah, it
because
is
this
exciting.
is something we have been working on with other partners for several years.
Yeah.
Several
And
years.
Unfortunately, normally takes a few years to get something going.
Yes, yeah.
It's
It's a slow process.
It's a slow process.
It
yeah.
is. It is.
So the next bill we had was the tech immunization.
Right. So we were working to introduce language that would allow a pharmacy technician to continue to administer vaccinations like they are right now under the Federal PrEP Act.
Right,
And extend that state authority to pharmacy technicians. That bill is probably not going to advance this year, and we will be doing a 407 review with the
Right.
Department of Health and Human Services to advance that initiative in pharmacy. So stay tuned. We'll keep you posted
Yeah.
on where pharmacy technician administration is.
Yes, hopefully next year.
Yes.
That'll be the year.
Yes, right.
And then white bagging,
Yes, hot off the press, white bagging did get voted out of the committee.
which we weren't thinking it was going to.
We did not think
No,
it was
yeah.
going to that it would go anywhere this
Right.
year. So this is, I think, this shows the legislature's commitment
Mm-hmm.
to wanting to see a solution, and they heard the proponents of the bill and why
Right.
this bill is needed. And I think this basically tells the opponents we need to get serious about coming to some kind of an agreement between the end of the legislative session this year and the beginning of next legislative session so that we have a good bill to move forward with next year.
Right. So hopeful on that one also.
Yes.
Yeah. So the next thing, one of the questions that you've had recently is talking about texts.
Right.
So-
At least once a week we get a phone call or an email with people asking questions about pharmacy technicians. So let's talk about text, baby. Let's talk about you and me. All right. So it is confusing. Pharmacy technicians in Nebraska need to maintain two different things. First, they have to have a registration with the Department of Health and Human Services. Okay. It used to be, Amy, that a technician could have a job, apply for their job, and start working before they were actually registered with the Department of Health and Human Services. But that
Right.
changed a few years ago. So before a technician can work a single day in any facility, they must be registered with the Department of Health and Human Services. So that is a process, an online process where they have to apply, pay a fee, and get a registration with the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services.
Once that's done, then they can start.
Once that's done, then they can start.
Right.
So what kinds of things can they do before they're actually registered? They could be trained on any non-pharmacy technician thing. Can someone in a hospital, for example, could they run a medication up to a floor? Sure.
Right. Okay.
Sure, absolutely. Could they manage the inventory in a pharmacy? Absolutely. Those are things
Okay.
that are not part of providing a medication to a patient. So they could certainly do those things before they are registered, trained to to learn those things before they're registered. However, they cannot do pharmacy technician things until they have achieved that registration.
Okay. And then what's the next step?
Right. The next step is within the first year that a pharmacy technician is registered with the Department of Health and Human Services, they have to become certified.
Okay.
And it is kind of confusing because there's different kinds of certification.
Right.
The Nebraska Board of Pharmacy has approved a couple different state-approved programs that a technician can complete.
Okay.
And that program allows them to be certified.
Okay.
Okay.
In the state of Nebraska.
In the state of Nebraska.
Right.
Right. So we have some programs. The University of Nebraska Medical Center College of Pharmacy has a technician training course.
Okay.
Nebraska Methodist has a training course. Southeast Community College has a training course, as well as Quality Career Pathways.
Okay.
So there are some options for a person to become state certified in Nebraska as a pharmacy technician. They have to do that within 1 year. Okay. The other option is that a person can study for a national certification exam. And the examples of those would be the Pharmacy Technician Certification Board, or PTCB we call it, or they can study for the ACCEPT. And with those programs, the technician can do any kind of a review they want to do as far as to prepare for the exam.
Right, okay.
So once they have to sit for the exam and have their results back before they have been registered for 1 year.
Right.
So this isn't something that they wait until 12 months into this.
362nd day to do it. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. Any technician that has been registered for 6 months, 7 months probably needs to start the process of becoming certified.
Right. And if you do a national one, then you could go to a different state
right.
also and still have that certification. But if you're just doing Nebraska, you would have to do probably different certification once you went to another state.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. And what's tricky is it's different for pharmacists because technicians need to maintain that certification with continuing education, which we offer at the NPA.
Right.
So, yeah, we offer some really good programs for pharmacy technicians to maintain that certification.
Right.
Most certification programs require, whether it's a state program or a national program, that pharmacy technicians have to have about 20 hours of continuing education. And they usually have to renew that certification within about 2 years. Okay. But that timeline of when they have to renew their certification is unique for most pharmacy technicians. There isn't a set date like when you have to renew your registration with the state. So it's managing those two things that I think are kind of confusing and that people get sort of caught up in. And I will tell you that it is really important for the pharmacist in charge of any hospital or any pharmacy to verify that their technicians are both registered with the state of Nebraska, Department of Human Services, and that their certification is current and valid. Because the pharmacist in charge of those locations can actually be cited if their technician does not meet the requirements.
Right. Okay. Now, is that checked on by anybody? Does the Board of Pharmacy or anyone come in to check those things, or how is that checked?
Yeah, that's a great question. Whether a person is practicing in a hospital or in a community pharmacy, they have to complete a self-inspection report once a year.
Okay.
And part of that self-inspection report details the employees working in the pharmacy, when their registration, and verifies their certification. Or if a location is lucky enough to be part of that 20% of pharmacies that have a on-site inspection, random on-site inspection. Yeah, the pharmacy inspector will nicely ask for the documentation for the technician, whether it be their registration or their certification and renewal of their certification. So important stuff.
Yeah, perfect.
A little bit confusing, but important stuff.
Yes. Okay, so we had asked people to send in questions that they had. So again, make sure you go to either our Facebook page, Pharm Girls, or you can go to the info@npharm.org. Send us a question.
Yes.
So we got a question from Linda that we're going to ask.
We did.
If someone asks a question, this time, then we're going to pick one of the questions. If it gets on air, then you're going to get a free tumbler.
We're going to send Linda a tumbler.
And Linda's going to get a tumbler. So.
She's going to get a tumbler for sending in her question.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's her question?
Okay, so Linda's question is, how do others handle large insurance copays when the cash price would be much lower, but patient has a deductible to meet?
Sure. So what Linda's asking is, a patient has a medication that is very expensive if they submit the claim to the insurance company.
Right.
And if they just had the patient pay cash, it might actually be less expensive. And I think this happens all the time when pharmacies use a discount card. They find that even using a discount card or their cash price sometimes is less than what the reimbursement is for the insurance.
Right.
You know, the patient has to make a decision.
Right.
You know, the patient needs to decide whether they want that to go through with their insurance at the pharmacy or if they want to pay for it outside of their insurance. One thing I might want to mention, Linda, and that is your patients may have the option to submit their pharmacy receipts at some point in time so that it does apply to that deductible. Right. That way they can take advantage of your lower cash price and have the claims submitted to their pharmacy. They may have to do it manually on paper, or there might be a form, but that's what I would recommend that you do for those patients. That way they know that you're doing the best you can to get them medications at the best cost.
Right, and because to some people it is beneficial to them to have it go towards their deductible.
Absolutely,
so they kind of have to make that decision.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. So thanks for the question, Linda.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, tumbler coming her way.
Yes, so send in your questions. Now, the thing we asked on Facebook the other day, so also pay attention. We might throw out random questions that we want to hear your answers on. So,
yes.
I'll get my cheat sheet here.
Yes.
So we asked pharmacists what was the worst and best smelling drug out there.
Yeah.
So, the metformin.
Right.
One, I would say the worst. There were some others. There was also cephalexin.
Cephalexin, yeah.
Okay.
Antibiotic, yeah.
Okay.
That one smells like must, mildew, mold.
Okay.
Yeah.
B vitamins.
Oh, yeah. They have a strong smell.
And then we had krill oil.
Krill oil, yeah. Fish oil.
Fish
sure,
oil, okay.
Sure. Yeah.
And would you be mixing that in the pharmacy?
No,
or was
no.
it just the pills?
I think it's the cap. They come in a capsule.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. And then, so we had a bunch for those. And then as far as what smells the best, metformin also someone said smelled like manure.
Oh.
So, I don't, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I don't know how to
could have
describe
that
the smell
musty-
of I don't know how to describe the smell of metformin.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And so some of the best were Benicar.
Benicar, yeah, brand name, yeah. Medication.
This one I'm going to screw up. Spironolactone?
Spironolactone, yes.
Or insulin was also one. Then the bright yellow KC110MEQ, which you said was a K-tab.
I think what Shelby's referring to is K-tabs.
Okay.
Yeah, and those did smell really good. They had a very sweet banana-y smell.
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
I didn't mind counting those.
And then we had Jeannie said, I like the smell of Benicar again, but then she wants to eat popcorn.
Yeah, I think it does kind of smell like popcorn.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we had Depakote.
Yeah.
ER.
Yeah.
And Jenny that works with us at the NPA, said she likes amoxicillin. It smells good, but she doesn't like the way the powder poofs out. And she said acetylcysteine?
Yeah. Acetylcysteine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't even close on that one, but yeah.
I don't know if that
smells the worst.
It smells bad?
Yeah, she said it smells bad.
Yeah. You know, some of the amoxicillin suspensions for kids, there was one that smelled like bubble gum, and that one was nice, and it did poof out.
Yeah.
So you kind of wonder how much you ended up getting all over. But it did smell good and like bubble gum.
Yeah, and see, the bubblegum stuff is always weird to me. Like bubblegum flavored medicine, bubblegum flavored ice cream is kind of weird to me.
That's not your thing?
It's not my thing. I like bubblegum fine, but that's just kind of weird. It doesn't really taste, it tastes like medicine bubblegum.
Oh.
Like medicated bubblegum, if that's a thing.
Oh.
Yeah, it might be now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And now it's time for
Pharm Facts.
So today, our Pharm Facts. So Louisiana was the first state to require a pharmacist to be licensed. A French immigrant, Louis Defilo, I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right, became the first licensed pharmacist in the country in 1816. And then in 1823, he opened his own pharmacy in New Orleans, where he offered traditional medications as well as voodoo remedies, opium, leeches, and a soda fountain. So it was just a good time. Could have some opium, maybe do a voodoo spell on somebody, have an egg cream. It was just one-stop shopping. Yeah, that was the place to be in 1823. Yeah, I don't know how long that lasted.
That's awesome. Such a strong tradition of this profession has.
Yes, it is.
If anybody's still using leeches, I would be interested to know.
I've just seen them on the TV show Botched, where they're doing plastic surgery and someone's skin needs like the blood. Then they put a leech on it. Like someone's just sitting there with a leech on their nose.
Huh. And they pay someone to do that.
And they pay someone. Yeah, you're paying good money to have that happen. Yeah. The other one. So last month we talked about Coca-Cola, and so did you know 7-Up was originally a mood stabilizing drug that contained lithium?
Ooh.
Yeah, and was used to treat bipolar disorder. It was originally called, not as catchy as 7-Up, bib label lithiated lemon lime soda.
That does not roll off the tongue.
That didn't roll off the tongue, no. But you were having a 7-Up. You weren't up, you weren't down.
No, you were getting your lithium.
You were just straight across the board.
Right.
Walking around, mediocrely happy.
Wow.
With your soda.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Who knew?
I did not know that.
Who knew?
That is fascinating.
It's fun to find these interesting farm facts out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Farm fact! Okay, so next we are going to have on a guest. So we want to welcome Mackenzie Farr, who is the Chief Operating Officer for Community Pharmacy in Gretna. Besides being a pharmacist, she's a wife and mother of 3, Jackson, who is 10, Jansen, a little girl who's 7, and Royce, who is 4. So welcome, Mackenzie. Thank you for doing this with us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, you're a busy mom, but she's also a VIP, a very important pharmacist.
Yes.
Not only is Mackenzie a mom and a pharmacist, but she's also the president of the NPA Board of Directors.
Yeah. Yeah, she's got a lot on her plate.
Yes. Yeah. She doesn't look crazy, does she?
No.
Not
I'm
even
just
a little bit.
glutton for punishment, that's all.
Well,
I love it.
Yes. Thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, for sure.
So, when did you know you wanted to go into pharmacy? We're just going to jump in.
Yeah, for sure. I have a little bit of an odd path, and I have to say that. Going into college, I went to Wayne State. I went up there to play softball, and I wanted to be a kindergarten teacher. I was dead set on that, and I had to take a gen ed chemistry class. Just, you had to take a science class, and I chose chemistry. I took AP chemistry in high school. Again, a little bit of a non-traditional route. And after I think it was our first test, my professor was like, "What are you doing?" And it actually coincided with the time where I was just like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. I knew I didn't want to be a teacher anymore, because if I was going to have kids, I was worried I didn't want to be around kids all the time. So anyway, jumped right in mid-semester into a pre-pharmacy chemistry degree. I wanted to finish out my degree because I wanted to be able to play softball 4 years. So yeah, a little bit of a non-traditional way to end up where I am, but no, I love it. And I was really excited. I was very encouraged that the professor did that, because otherwise who knows where I would be.
Who knows what would be happening.
Yeah. And Wayne State's mascot is?
The Wildcats.
Go Wildcats.
Go Cats. I love that. And that you played softball. That's very cool. Very cool. So tell us about your first job out of pharmacy school and how you ended up where you are today.
Sure. So actually, when I came back after graduation from Wayne, I was going to go to the med center. And so I lived in Elkhorn and took a job with Elkhorn Drug. Elkhorn Drug had a retail shop as well as a long-term care little back room operation. And so I kind of got my toe dipped in both sides. I knew at that time, I was adamant, again, I'm not going to go into long-term care. And yet here I am. So I'm probably like the worst person to talk to about making decisions, because I have my mind made up and then do 180. So all throughout pharmacy school, I worked for Elkhorn Drug. And my P3 year, my now boss and his at that time business partner bought Elkhorn Drug, and so they just bought the retail component, and then as most small independent retail shops do in small towns, they started a long-term care pharmacy in the back, and it's since exploded. When I graduated in 2008, they asked me to be the pick, and so I've kind of held a handful of roles. And we've grown a ton. When we started, I think we had 4 nursing homes that we were taking care of, and now we're well north of that. So yeah, yes,
Yeah, and community pharmacy is where you're at, correct?
correct. Yep,
Yes.
in
Yeah.
Gretna. Yep.
Great. So what do you love about your current role in what is a non-traditional pharmacy role?
I think going to pharmacy school, so many kids just have the idea that you either have to go retail or you have to go hospital. And I love rotations because it gives so many students different opportunities to see those non-traditional roles, right? You
Right.
get exposed to a lot of things either by choice or by forcing to go see and experience something new. And I love long-term care because it's kind of a hybrid of retail. I mean, we're governed by retail laws with a few caveats, but I love what I get to do because I get to blend internal operations and working with our internal staff as well as the service component with our external facility partners. And so you get to still service individuals. You still have that opportunity to work with people and make a difference. But I love it because it's different. I always joke with our students that if you're really scared of talking to people, long-term care is great because no one can come in the door. But it is true.
If you're a shy pharmacist.
That's right. That's right. You can get yelled at, your face can get red, but you're hiding behind a phone, so it's totally fine, right?
Right.
But no, it's a unique environment. It's pretty casual, and while it's different, I mean, it still it services a very important population, and it's neat to see how it continues to grow and just how we continue to expand in this sector.
Nice.
So, as I mentioned, Mackenzie, you're currently the president of the board of directors for the Nebraska Pharmacists Association. What initially made you want to be part of the board?
So going back to pharmacy school, Marcia, you and Joni would come and present. And of course, we took in all of that information. We totally listened. We knew exactly what the NPA does. No, I wish I could say I did, but I'll never forget.
You and everyone else.
Yes. I actually talked to RPSA the other day and kind of said the same thing. So I'm like, I get it. But no, I'll never forget. My boss and I had attended a board of pharmacy meeting. There was a big push for something we wanted to see changed. And, being relatively naive, we weren't sure what the process was to go about getting a law change. And so we go down and we submit a pharmacy practice question, and we discuss it. And then we come to find out after talking to Marcia and Joni that no, that is not how laws get changed or impacted here in the state. And so, okay, how can we get involved? We want to make this change. And so it started off with joining the legislative committee. Well, first of all, joining the NPA, rejoining. Sorry, one of those students that let it lapse. But no, I rejoined the NPA and saw all the committees you can get involved with. And legislative spoke right to me. I remember being in pharmacy school as well, thinking law and writing laws, absolutely not. And now, here I am a few years later, and my passion has completely changed. So again, non-traditional, sorry, 180. But no, talking and hearing, especially Dr. Hospodka was super great. And Dr. Krobot, just listening to them and knowing their law background, and then guiding, the states and how we are going to at that time, I think they were redoing the Pharmacy Practice Act, which is no small feat. And you go in and you're like, okay, well, how can this impact my sector of pharmacy? And it was just super, super interesting. And then I started to get passionate about, hey, I want to continue to advance long-term care. And so we had another piece where it was automation and then electronic e-kit automation. And as I think Cheryl Haverman was the long-term care chair before I was, and I knew she wasn't interested in running again. And I said, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot. If worst case scenario, I don't get it, still involved, totally fine. I got it, and I was worried that Joni and Marcia were going to be like, oh my gosh, this girl, all she does is talk. So as you can tell, but I was worried that they were going to be like, oh man, this girl, she's going to be too much for this. And fortunately, I fit the bill. But no, I love being involved, but I love impacting more than just my area of the profession now. And I feel like Nebraska has an opportunity to become relatively progressive, hopefully, as we continue to grow. And I'd love to see just the industry advance, and how can we continue to mold and develop, these up and coming pharmacists, especially to get them involved and make a difference, because we're all busy, right? I mean, we're moms, we're partners, we're spouses, we're whatever. It doesn't take that big of a time commitment, and it really is impactful. So there you go.
Nice. I've just been with the NPA since last July. And when I was told there's a board of directors, and I thought, oh boy, okay, what's this going to be like? I'm imagining a bunch of, people in suits all sitting around super serious. But it is a diverse group of people, and I think Mackenzie's one of the people that I was just like, okay, I like this girl. She is engaged, and she's passionate about it, and so I think it's super great that you're the president now. And
she's doing an amazing job.
Yeah, she's doing an amazing
You're a
job.
super strong leader, and we're grateful for that.
Yeah,
well, thank you. I have a lot of people who've modeled and shown me the way, so can't take all the credit.
Well, tell us, what do you hope to accomplish as president of the NPA? I know that's kind of a big question, but
it really is. There's a lot of different things changing in healthcare, and a lot of it's been brought about by the pandemic, and so what was really great to see was how quickly you see things can get done. You had to have all these emergency clauses and just different things that we had to implement right now, just to make sure that we could continue to function as a society and profession, right? I think that's really encouraging, because you can see that people will work together, and I want to try to bring different industries together. I'm very passionate about transitions of care. We have a work group. I guess one of the pieces that is it's really hard right now, because what we're finding is people, and you talk about burnout, and burnout is real, and people don't want to give a ton of extra time. So any way that we can continue to get people involved, for sure, that's one piece, right? Finding what really drives other people, bringing people together. Like with the Transitions of Care group, it brought together so many different areas of practice. You had your retail, you had hospital, long-term care, almost everybody's impacted. And so I'd like to do more with the Transitions of Care piece. Strategic planning, I am all in for that. How can we continue to advance our profession collectively? Technicians, how many technician jobs are out there and available? It's because a lot of people are exiting the industry, and it's really sad, because I think there are a lot of different opportunities we can allow for their professional growth and development, and how can we enhance them in the state of Nebraska? I know there's a technician task force that we are getting started. I'm really excited about that, and I know there's some good participation there. So I want to keep this momentum going. I want to see where we can go, and I like to see what other states are doing. So how can we continue some of that momentum, either, on a state level or on a national level? So, yeah.
right.
That's awesome.
Well, we're definitely lucky to have you on the board. That's for sure.
That is for sure. So we know that outside of pharmacy, you are a busy mom and wife. So what do you do outside of work that brings you joy?
Man,
That's time. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have time for
I
joy?
have so much free time. No, I love following my kids around. My husband's a coach, so we go to a lot of track meets. We go to cross country meets. He used to coach basketball, so we're very sports oriented. My 10-year-old is obsessed. My 4-year-old's obsessed. Unfortunately, the 7-year-old gets drug along, but no, she enjoys it too. This summer, I'm really looking forward to coaching t-ball and coaching. It's 8 and under softball coach pitch. I coached my daughter last year too, so that was kind of fun. So, coaching, getting involved. I like to read if I can. You know what? Audiobooks are like the greatest invention ever because now I can actually read, but not really read.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, just following my kids around. That's kind of the big thing.
Nice.
Very nice.
So we're going to ask you just a random question. What's your favorite ice cream?
I kind of got tipped off on this on the other night with the executive call. So I'm sorry, Marcia. I'm totally going to call you out, and I've been thinking about it. I grew up. I don't love just like a dish of ice cream or anything like that.
Yeah.
I grew up
Me neither.
eating or drinking chocolate banana malts with my dad. There was a Zesto in Fremont.
Yeah.
And so that was the jam. You know, if you behaved, you got to go. And so that's it. You know, a chocolate banana malt or chocolate banana shake. Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
a
I'll
banana
be your
shake
friend.
girl also.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm a banana shake girl. Yeah.
All
I couldn't
right,
tell.
Amy, you and I
know,
we're
right?
gonna go get a shake.
We're going to get a shake. Yeah.
I like it.
I like it too. Well, thank
Marcia,
you
you can
so.
come along too. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tag along if you'll have me.
We'll have you
We'll
all the
let you.
time.
Yeah.
Well, Mackenzie, thank you so much for being our VIP, very important pharmacist on our podcast. It is great to get to know you a little bit better. Your enthusiasm for the profession is infectious,
Yes.
and we are so grateful for your leadership.
Thanks, guys. This has really been fun. Hopefully, I didn't screw it up too bad, and the bar's set right here now. So now you get to jump a little bit higher, okay?
You did great.
You did great. Thank you so much, Mackenzie. We
All right.
appreciate you.
For sure, guys.
Yeah.
And
Thanks,
sorry for my
Mackenzie.
email in the background. I keep hearing it ding, so that's
I
totally
didn't
on
notice
me.
it. I did
it's
not
fine.
notice it.
Yeah.
I heard Amy's stomach growl, though.
You did?
I did.
Oh,
It wasn't me.
sorry.
I
Yeah.
guess we should
We'll
have
go get a
snack.
shake.
We should have.
And
Yeah.
then it'll be
I'll
good.
get a shake. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dairy Queen on my way.
All right. I like that. Deserve a
right.
treat.
Thanks, Mackenzie.
Thank you, Mackenzie.
For sure, guys. We'll see
Take
ya.
care.
Take care. Okay, so events. We have some events coming up. We actually have a lot of events coming up. So we're going to talk about the events that we have coming up in April, which is a busy month. We got a lot of good things.
Yeah.
So let's start off with the New Practitioner Network. It's on Tuesday, April 5th. Starts at 6 p.m.
Yes.
At Pike Nine Brewery in Omaha. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, this is a new practitioner event, and even though it sounds like it's just for new practitioners, we want experienced pharmacists to join the new practitioners. This is purely a networking event. It is Tuesday, therefore it will be
Taco Tuesday. Yeah.
And we're going to have free tacos. This is sponsored by Hy-Vee, and we are going to. It's an in-person event.
Yeah, which is kind of nutty.
It is nutty.
Yeah.
It is. We haven't had an in-person
You're actually going to
event.
see people's faces. They probably
Yes.
won't even have a mask on.
Maybe not.
So you might not know who they are, but
Right.
yeah.
Right. So this is a networking event. We're just going to mix and mingle. And what we're hoping to do is connect new practitioners with seasoned practitioners so that they can learn about their different pharmacy journeys.
Yeah. Yeah, there's as you can tell by Mackenzie's story earlier. There's all sorts of ways you can get to different jobs in pharmacy.
Absolutely. So if people are interested in this event,
Yes.
they need to go to our event calendar, and you absolutely must RSVP.
Yes.
We
Yep.
need to know how many tacos.
Right, how many tacos people need.
That's right.
So yeah, you can go to npharm.org. You can also look at our Facebook page.
Yes.
Or if you're a member of the NPA in the Daily Dose, there'll
Yes.
also be links in there. So
Absolutely. Yeah. Then another event that we have coming up is we're going to have a speaker talk to us about a program called Safe in Harm's Way. And this person is amazing. Carolyn is amazing. She's going to share her story. But what's so neat about this is there are a lot of people that suffer from domestic abuse. And this could be happening in our families. It could be happening with our friends, our neighbors, or our patients.
Right.
And she is going to share with us the amazing resources that Safe in Harm's Way offers at no charge
right.
to anybody who needs resources that's in an abusive relationship.
Right. And it's how you can, whether it is your patient's family, friends, someone like that, or yourself, how you can get to those resources and find help. So, yeah, and she's a great presenter also. She's very passionate about it. So, that one's Thursday, April 7th. That'll be a virtual event.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're going to do this again. We highlighted some pharmacists with non-traditional roles over the noon hour. We invited people, and it was really well attended, not only by pharmacy students, Amy, but pharmacists. I think everybody's interested in learning about different pharmacy roles and maybe making a pivot in their career.
Maybe you need something different. And I mean, not you.
Me?
No, you don't. No, you don't need anything different. No.
I might. Amy could be
don't
suggesting.
Leave me. No.
Last time we highlighted pharmacists that were doing things like a nuclear pharmacy, compounding, long-term care consulting.
Even some IT. I can't remember what that.
Yes, absolutely. Information technology.
It was
a great group of pharmacists that kind of chatted about what they do in non-traditional roles. And the next one is Friday, April 8th at noon. That's also a virtual event.
Right.
And we are going to be highlighting pharmacists that work in industry, academia, and hopefully we're going to find some pharmacists that can share their stories about how they provide medication therapy management to patients.
Oh yeah. So make sure to join that. It was cool to learn about different things. I didn't know a lot. The nuclear medicine one was really cool to learn about for me. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So another event we have coming up. It's a PCCA sponsored event.
Right.
That one's on Tuesday, April 12th, 7:15. This one is also a virtual event, and it's changes coming up to USP 795. Is your pharmacy ready? So tell us a little bit more about what that is.
Yeah, well, any pharmacist that's doing compounding, any pharmacy that's doing compounding knows that the federal standards are changing, and that is the United States Pharmacopoeia, and in particular, Chapter 795, which deals with non-sterile compounding. Right. So for those pharmacies that are doing some mixing and doing their magic, making customized pharmacy compounded prescriptions for patients. This is going to outline the timeline for implementation of the new draft chapters of 795. It's going to feature the changes from the previous drafts because this is not the first draft out. There's been several revisions to this draft. So we got to know what is the word here. What is the final regulation? How is this going to work? And it's also going to go over the FDA's unsanitary conditions guidance.
Okay.
So people can find out more information about that webinar. Anybody who's compounding needs to be on that webinar to learn this new information. And they can find information on our calendar of events.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. And the next one is the Novo Nordisk Diabetes virtual event. That one's Tuesday, April 19th. Again, 7:15, a virtual event. That one's another webinar.
Yes. I'm super excited about this. Our speaker is going to address the program Diabetes in 2022. We're coming for you. Implementing the 2022 American Diabetes Association Standards of Care in Diabetes.
Okay.
So,
there's always new information on that.
Yes.
And I feel like the diabetes classes do get a lot of people that want more information and new information. There's always something new.
They do. I think our members, pharmacists, technicians, interns, they can't get enough information about diabetes. I think it's so prevalent and
it is,
and sometimes it's complicated. So get some more information about diabetes and the changes in the standards.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. And then Johnson & Johnson will be doing a healthcare policy update. What's going on in D.C. and Nebraska and how it might affect you.
Yes.
That one's Tuesday, May 3rd at 7:15, again, a virtual event. And tell us a little bit about that one.
I'm super excited about that. We had David Cecil from Johnson & Johnson last year give us a kind of a landscape after the presidential election was over with, and kind of forecast what the Biden administration's policies were going to be. And David is a super smart policy wonk, knows what's going on the federal level, and we're going to talk about federal level issues and some state level legislative issues. So it'll be a great update.
Nice. Okay. And again, you can find the events, either look through our Facebook page, follow us, the Nebraska Pharmacists Association is where you can find the events that are going on, or the events calendar on npharm.org, or again, in the Daily Dose. We always update people on them there also,
Yes,
if you're getting
absolutely.
that. So,
Yeah.
and if you're not a member, join, and then you'll get the Daily Dose, which has all of our events and talks about all sorts of different things that people should know about.
Yeah, so there's always great news there.
Yeah.
Always great news.
So, let's have a joke. You got a joke for me, Marcia?
I do.
Okay.
I do have a joke for you today. So there's a pharmacy that has a sign on the counter that says prescriptions filled, no waiting.
Okay.
All right.
That
So
would be great today, because that's definitely not I feel like that's not a thing anymore.
it's not a thing. It's not a thing. So a patient brought in their prescription and said, read the sign, no waiting. They said, wonderful, wonderful. I'm in a big hurry. How long will this be? And the pharmacist said, well, you'll have to come back in about 2 hours. And the patient said, wait a minute, the sign says prescriptions filled, no waiting. And the pharmacist said, that's exactly right. There's absolutely no waiting to get a prescription here.
You did it without laughing, so that was good.
I kind of chuckled.
Yeah. Oh, you did a little?
A little bit.
Okay, that's okay.
Yes. All right. All right.
Okay, so thank you everyone for listening to us today.
Yes.
We want to thank our sponsor, the Nebraska Meds Disposal Program.
Yes.
Again, if you're wanting to find a participating pharmacy to take your medication back to, go to leftovermeds.com. Or if you're wanting your pharmacy to participate in the program, give me a call or email me, and we'll get your pharmacy signed up. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook. Pharm Girls is on Facebook, YouTube also, or your podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple. So take a listen to us.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone.